Welcome to CV. We have some explaining to do about Desi. Desiderio Alberto Arnaz de Acha III, born on March 2, 1917, was a Cuban-born American actor, band leader, and film and television producer. He played Ricky Ricardo on the American television sitcom I Love Lucy, in which he co-starred with his then-wife, Lucille Ball. Arnaz and Ball are credited as the innovators of the syndicated rerun, which they pioneered with the I Love Lucy series. So buckle up if you enjoy our deep dive. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps subscribe to our channel so you never miss a memory. But without further ado, let's uncover the turbulent life of Desi Arnaz. Did Desi Arnaz come from a wealthy family? Desi Arnaz was born all the way in Cuba, where his father held political office as his home country's youngest mayor and the descendant of some old Cuban royalty. But in 1933, the Cuban Revolution broke out and totally uprooted Desi's entire family. A violent mob destroyed their entire property and livestock, and they lost everything. Desi barely escaped the fray. His mom went into hiding, and his dad wasn't so lucky because he ended up being jailed. Desi's uncle worked very hard to get him out, and finally the family fled with what little they had to Miami, Florida. Desi, just 17 years old here, pretty much penniless, and didn't even speak a lick of English. He and his dad stayed in a garage, and their roommates were rats and roaches. Of course, everyone remembers their first job. Well, his was working at a local Woolworth, but all the while, he was mopping floors at Woolworth. Desi Arnaz had hope, and through his whole turbulent phase of his young life, he became a budding patriot because he knew no matter where he fell in America, he could climb back up. So he let his dreams stay big and turned his sights to showbiz. He slowly built a name for himself and introduced the Coña line from Cuba to the US. Lucy was engaged when she met Desi. No matter what you've done, I forgive you. Love in all its truly messy forms. This defines the truly complicated relationship between Desi and Lucy. They were in love when they first met, but not with each other. The year was 1940 and both rising stars crossed paths on the set too many times. Isn't that a coincidence? The two were unlike anything America or each other had ever seen. Lucille tended to date older, taller men, and the two started chatting and couldn't stop. They set up a dinner date and crossed paths at the beach and stuck together like magnets, but they were both in very serious relationships with other people. At the time, Desi was with the girl he nicknamed Freckles, and Lucille was outright engaged. The story goes that Lucille broke off the engagement the next day after that, and the couple were inseparable. Other actresses saw Lucille oscillate between an independent woman ahead of her time and a traditional national housewife, but whenever it came to Desi, they stuck together like glue, whether America liked it or not, and some really did not. For one, the couple lied about their ages. Lucille was 6 years older than Desi, and executives would have made a big thing about that. So instead, they made a big thing about Lucille being American-born and raised and Desi Cuban. In fact, the higher-ups at CBS warned Lucille the American public would never go for a show revolving around a couple like this. But in classic Lucille fashion, she stood her ground and boy was she right. She set herself and Desi up as the first interracial couple on American television. The Supreme Court hadn't even legalized interracial couples yet, and this was the first ever mixed couple that showed the world just how successful this television show thing could be. So why did Lucy and Desi get divorced? Desi and Lucille were in the spotlight like no other couple before, and behind the scenes of their sweet idyllic marriage before, during, and after Desi's time with Lucille, there was a lot of cheating. In fact, right after they began going out, they worked from their own projects before Lucille held Desi met up with his ex-lover actress Betty Grable. Lucy showed up at his house and told him off, and then Desi proposed, but that was just a band-aid on a persisting flesh wound. Desi's first girlfriend, nicknamed Freckles, never protested even when she knew he was cheating on her with Lucille. That made him feel terrible, but he did it anyway. And that would be a bit of a theme in his memoir. He said, quote, "Even though I might have done some bad things in my life, none of them could have been as bad as what I did to her." Lucille and Desi had conflicting schedules, one wrapping up just as the other one was heading out. This and Desi's wandering head made their romance and intimacy hard to coordinate. When they tried for a baby, Lucille had several miscarriages before they conceived their first child, and for a while, things did change. Desi and Lucille's biographer Bart Andrews asserted a quote, "Some of Desi's womanizing was alleviated from the moment little Lucy was born." Director William Asher seconds this, saying Desi looked especially tender in those episodes that immediately followed their daughter's birth. But for some people, success also means more to lose and farther to fall, and Desi began to feel the pressure of, well, everything, from family to work, being a sitcom icon and husband, to the legendary Lucille Ball, to managing their company, Dezula Productions. And so on went the drinking and cheating. It was an open secret that Desi's father and grandfather had mistresses and even separate properties for them. And Desi knew this could be a piece of work, which is why the legendary Lucille Ball is also on our real life Hollywood jerk videos if you want to watch that one next time. One time, a Ball saw a magazine that promised the juicy details on who Desi was sleeping with. It went into detail about him and their relative recruiting ladies who were referred to as, quote, cuddle for cash babes, and how the women left, quote, considerably richer. Lucille disappeared into her dressing room and came out and told Desi right to his face, quote, I could tell them worse than that. Some of his alleged affairs include dancer Lilian Molieri and actress Patricia Medina, who inherited Lucy and Desi's money. Before they split, Desi and Lucille became parents of two, Lucy and Desi Jr. According to daughter Lucy, Lucille balanced and separated her work life and home life, keeping all the antics to the stage and using her mind for organization and discipline at home to run an organized household. Lucy called her mom a list maker, and as for Desi, she says he had a love of life and a sense of humor she called twisted. But Lucy inherited her appreciation for music from him and his business sense, operating by some simple rules. If you don't ask, there are no stupid questions. Also, hire the right people who can do their job. And finally, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything, which actually helped his daughter a lot. Lucy got a front row seat to learning that love is complicated. As for her brother, we have an entire deep dive on his complicated life, so be sure to watch that one next. Lucy and Desi Jr. inherited some life lessons and wisdom from their parents, and some difficult first-hand wake-up calls, and something a bit more tangible. Lucille set it up so Lucy was a trustee in her estate, then split it 3 ways between her second husband and her 2 kids. Did Desi Arnaz ever get sober? This substance abuse exacerbated problems that were already there, like his quick temper, his poor choices, and attitude. It's something that would plague his life and that of his son, but it would also be his son who would help him. Desi's daughter tells how Desi, quote, resisted going into any program for a long time, and the family didn't want to air their dirty laundry to others. The idea made Desi sick, but so did the alcohol and so did the death of his second wife, Edith. When Junior saw his dad so downtrodden, he told him, quote, come on, Dad, you can do this, and that was enough to get Desi on the road to recovery. Junior was right there with him. When Desi said, quote, my name is Desi and I'm an alcoholic, but sadly, this huge step happened not too long ago before Desi would leave this world. What did Desi Arnaz say to Lucy before he died? Not long after getting sober, Desi found out he had lung cancer, but Desi and Lucille's lives were forever connected by that point. Even after splitting, they were forever friends. Lucille's close friend, actress Carol Channing, once said, quote, they spoke so lovingly of each other, you almost forgot they weren't together anymore. That's because what Lucille called their unconditional love for each other that could not die. As she puts it here, quote, there was forgiveness, there was understanding, there was appreciation for that other person and what you got from that other person, regardless of the stuff that hurt that never went away. So Desi still had his family in his life when he passed away at the age of 69 on December 2nd, 1986, passing away in his daughter's arms while Lucy held the phone and he talked to Lucille, who said the same 3 words over and over, I love you. And Desi said back, I love you too, honey. Good luck with your show. Desi Arnaz's life was an adventure packed with loss and victory, sometimes at the same damn time. And sometimes, for our benefit, he was half the formula that revolutionized television, experimenting with the use of film, introducing the very idea of reruns and bringing in a live audience to give TV something special. He gave his kids great advice, both as cautionary tales and as fatherly wisdom, and often he could have used that guiding voice himself. Right now, we need to hear from you all. Who grew up watching I Love Lucy? What's a great episode you recall, and what surprised you the most about Desi's life? Get in the comments and tell us any suggestions on all things Desi Arnaz. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps you not to miss another video. And from all of us here at CB, thank you very much for watching.